the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Good morning to you, and welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast to get your week started. We're glad that you're joining us here and tuning us in whenever it is that you're able to watch us and listen to us, and again, continue to spread the word. We are over 4,000 subscribers now, thanks to all of you out there that tune us in and watch, and we really, really appreciate that. Faith, good morning. Good to see you, as always.
Good morning.
And Jason not here with us this morning because we're going to be moving him around to tomorrow. We try to work around all of our schedules, and we all have a ton of stuff going on all the time. So we will have Jason with us tomorrow. And man, so much happened this weekend. We were back and forth texting. I just kept sending you one after another. It felt like it was like a ticker tape of things coming across, and I was getting texts from some other guys that were letting me know that, hey, this is about to go down and all this kind of stuff. And as soon as you would respond, I'd say, hold on, and another, and another. And it's like, how many more are we going to add to this? But we're going to dive into that a lot, and a lot more to talk about, basketball and football. So a lot of portal moves going on for Auburn right now, and we knew they needed to. So Auburn coaching staffs on both sides are taking advantage of really getting after it and getting some people in on campus and really selling the program. But we're going to start with our partners here, and we'll get it kicked off with Cincy Green, Faith.
Cincy Green, for air that's cool and clean, call on Cincy Green. They are the carrier dealers for Auburn athletics and a proud supporter of the Auburn Blitz podcast. We've talked all about how humid it is going to be this summer, and if you want to keep your doors open, you want to keep the humidity out of your house, because there's nothing worse than walking inside from it being nice and humid to a nice cool house. The last thing you want is for it to be humid. So make sure with this summer and all the heat that you're going to be having, that your family is not going to bed in a nice and warm house. Make sure it's cool with Cincy Green, and they will be saving you thousands of dollars with Cincy Green this summer.
Absolutely. And Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm in Birmingham, Alabama, specializing in educational projects, taking you from the pre-construction phase all the way through the finished product. So we can't say enough good things about Scout. I've been around their projects. I've seen their work. They carry you, again, from start to finish, literally, and they hold people accountable, so you're getting the best for your money. And so when you're spending millions of dollars, that is what you want. You want somebody that's going to be overseeing that. So call on Scout Program Management. And Bunkers.
Bunkers has over 27 sports on their simulators, and oh my gosh, we all know how much I love to show off my skills to Brett, of whether it's golf, whether it's, I don't know, any sport, lacrosse, football. You can go and rent out one of the bays that you can use with your family, friends, anybody.
Multi-talented over there, Faith. Multi-talented.
Yes. And their food there is awesome too. And everybody there is so nice. They're our good friends. So make sure, you go over there and tell them that the Auburn Blitz sent you, and have a awesome time. They've got great deals all the time too.
You never have to worry about parking either, do you?
50 parking spaces in the parking garage. And in the parking garage, it's literally right behind Bunkers. Shaded,
right there.
Covered everything.
So convenient all the way around. Isn't that what you want when you're going out? You want convenience. You want to be able to get in and out of a place. So, yeah, Bunkers, check them out. They're on West Glen in Auburn, downtown. All right, Kyle, good morning to you, War Eagle. Good to hear from you, y'all. Any comments, guys, always bring them to us. We want to talk to you and interact with you. What makes the show roll around. All right, let's talk about, just where do we want to start? I guess we can start with football, Faith, and then we'll go into basketball. First of all, we had a great on location on Friday at JR's Sports Bar and Grill in Alexander City. Just opportunity for us to talk about that for just a second. We're going to be on the road on mostly Fridays, but some Thursdays and some other days at different locations. So we'll be sending out, a calendar or basically, graphics to let everybody know where we're going to be on that particular week. Faith keeps us organized. Will keeps me organized, and in essence keeps the business organized. So she'll let everybody know where we're going to be. So we'd love for you to come out wherever we're going to be each week and join us and hang out. And a lot of times it's going to be at restaurants, so you can come out and enjoy some really, really great food. So I know we're looking forward to this moving forward, Faith.
Yeah, absolutely. We had such a great time at JR's and saw some people there too. And yeah, we've got some great opportunities for y'all to come out and see us and get some food, hang out. Yeah, so make sure when I'm going to get that nice and put together on a calendar to put on social media. So go look for that. And yeah, and another thing, on Friday, put out my third edition of On the Front Row with Faith with Brendan Valdez, and he's one of the top 10 finalists for the I want to say the Hogan Award.
Is the Hogan Award, Award, right?
And yeah, so catching up with him was awesome. He's super, super nice, great guy. That came out last Friday, so make sure you go and check that out. We've got another one coming out this Friday with Swim and Dive. So if you haven't looked at that, it's on YouTube and everything. So go look at that.
Absolutely. We'll also talk later in the week. Got draft coming up, NFL draft. So it's where some of our guys will possibly land, and we'll dive into that a little bit later. But let's get to business. Defensive lineman Jay Hardy. If that name is familiar to you, it should be. He was an Auburn Tiger back in 2020. Okay, that is not a misprint. He was back in 2020 when Gus Malzahn was at Auburn. So Auburn's been through a couple more coaches since then. And again, we were talking about defensive linemen. I think we've talked it to death, Faith. And then the first thing that pops up is Auburn lands Jay Hardy out of the portal from Liberty. He's got a connection there, obviously, with Coach Freeze and several of these coaches. So I'll dive into a little bit more detail on him. But again, this is a depth piece. When you look at his stats, it's not going to wow you, but a big body, came out of high school, highly touted, from the state of Tennessee. Rodney Gardner at the time was able to wrangle him away from Tennessee. And then, of course, when the coaching change happened, like you and I talked, he decided to transfer. So he's been at Liberty ever since.
Yeah, and we've said that we need somebody with that veteran experience, somebody that has been playing longer than some of these freshmen and sophomores. So adding him as a depth piece, but also as a vet and somebody that has all the experience, that's going to be huge for this defensive line room.
Yeah, we use our good friends at 24/7. Again, Jason Caldwell, part of our program each and every week. And, those guys, Christian, all of them do a really, really good job of covering Auburn. So using their ranking from the portal, 86 overall, the number 70, I think number 780 player, number 78 defensive lineman in the portal. He had an 86 overall grade. So when you look at the numbers, you're like, man, that, again, you're not going to be pulling out All-Americans and guys that are all SEC or all conference performers, because guess what? Those teams need those guys too. So they're not going to be letting those guys get away from them. So you're going to be looking for guys that have to be analyzed and to see, okay, what is the potential? What are they bringing to the table? Is it veteran leadership? Are they a piece here? Are they a younger guy that we haven't really seen a lot of yet? So it's going to vary in what you get, but what you do get is a guy that's pretty big, and that, he's got potential. And is he going to come in? Could he come in and be an all SEC guy at some point? I don't know. I mean, could he have an unbelievable season? I remember going back and looking at Nick Fairley from one year to the next. When he went from the 09 season to the 2010 season, Faith, it was a complete and total transformation. Nobody saw him morphing into what he morphed into that year. And I remember watching him in the Outback Bowl. I was on the sideline for that game, and he was making play after play after play. And I'm like, good Lord, where's this guy been? And then he carried that into the next year, and we all know what kind of player Nick Fairley ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some experience coming in here, and who knows, he knows Coach Freeze well, and that was basically when he was asked why he came back to Auburn. He literally said, "Coach Freeze."
Right.
So he clearly has a lot of trust in him, and maybe not all of his staff he's worked with, but he trusts the staff that Coach Freeze has brought over to Auburn. So
Right.
it'll be good for him to, come back home to Auburn, like Kyle said. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a better job of putting our comments back up there. I just tend to we get so many and we roll through them. But Kyle said excited for Jay to come back. 6'4", 280 sounds like a solid backup and can give us 15 snaps a game. Again, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for depth. You're looking to try to add pieces that you can interchange, and you don't want it to be a massive drop off when you have to rest guys that are in the 1 and 2 deep. And so again, defensive line is a massive position that, again, you cannot have enough people. He also says, based on our current roster, I'd say we need 2 interior linemen and an edge on the D line, at least 1 linebacker and 1 O lineman. Well, we did get a linebacker. We'll shift over to that. To me, Faith.
Yeah,
probably,
Caleb Wheatland from Maryland. He's
the best pickup.
Sorry?
He's the best pickup for the weekend that I saw.
Yeah, and he's coming to Auburn. He had a total of 100 tackles, 14.5 tackles for loss, and 7.5 sacks with 3 pass deflections and a fumble recovery over the last 3 years. He's 6'1", 227 pounds, and he was ranked as the number 9 linebacker in the transfer portal by 24/7. So
this is exactly what Auburn needed.
Yeah, 100%. We've talked about how important it would be to get somebody like him, and I think it's a great pickup that DJ Durkin was able to get a hold of.
Huge. I mean, we talked about that last week. I love that everything that we talked about last week, kind of breaking down the positions, have kind of come to fruition all in one weekend. Needed a veteran. Didn't say we needed a lot of linebackers. And Coach Freeze,
just somebody with some more experience than these freshmen and sophomores.
Dorian Mose,
right.
What we talked about. The very same
just
guy.
Able to also have the communication with the freshmen and sophomores that the experienced veterans can give, not even if it's just on the field, but still just in their ear, able to give them some positive, encouragement and help that they might need.
Right. That was one that I knew that Auburn, and we still probably will pick up another defensive lineman somewhere. They're going to continue to figure that out. But to me, the key was adding a veteran linebacker that had, a lot of in-game experience. Not just a guy that was older, but a guy that had been out there and contributed and had a pretty good stat line. And Auburn goes and gets, like you said, the number 9 guy in the portal, according to 24/7 at the linebacker position. It's a very, very solid pickup to add to a very talented linebacker room that Auburn has. And, we've seen that happen in different position groups, like with KLS and the receivers last year. Dorian Mose coming in last year and adding that boost to the linebacker room. You can't put a value on experience and leadership.
Absolutely. I think you nailed that.
All right. So some more comments coming in. Rebel Yell, we'll get to baseball in just a little bit, but yeah, it was disappointing. I'll say that, especially on the Thursday night game. Auburn had a chance to win that game, and it kind of slipped away from them. Ike Irish had a hell of a weekend. It's a shame that Auburn wasn't able to pull out one of those wins somewhere. Now on Saturday, Auburn got drummed. I mean, there's no other way to spin it. But this Texas team is proving that they are head and shoulders, and this is a mouthful, by the way. When you're head and shoulders above everybody else in this league, it tells you you're on another epic level somewhere. And this is one of the best starts in Texas baseball history. So knew it was going to be tough. Again, don't like to get swept. Want to try to win one on the road against really, really good opponents when you can. But, I mean, saw Kentucky beat Tennessee the other day. I mean, it's going to happen in this league. And so hopefully Auburn will be able to rebound. The schedule's tougher. But we'll dive more into that in just a little bit. Glenn said AU defense should give O-line time to jail. So, I mean, one of the things that you look at, and we had some guys out in spring like Connor Liu, Xavier Miller, and we had some new guys that came in to the mix, Mason Murphy and Xavier Chaplin, that are going to play. It gave them quality time in the spring, being new guys. And when you saw, and I think you'll agree with me, Faith, you and I were impressed with our offensive line during practice and during spring overall. And when you're missing a couple of your starters and you still look pretty good up front, that's very encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. We've talked about how it's been a deficit for Auburn in the past.
For too long.
Yes, for too long. But this definitely was the first year where I was able to look at you and say, wow, I don't think our quarterbacks are going to be running for their lives.
It's about time. That's all I can tell you. I mean, it's been like you said, a deficit, but there's another word out there I won't say. But it's been a problem. And it's caught when you're, and I hate to use inept up front because I don't want it to sound like you're putting somebody down, but when you're not up to par, I guess is the best phrase to use in this league at that position, you're not going to be very good. And if people want to know, and we say this all the time, what is the main reason Auburn has underachieved? Why has Auburn had 4 losing seasons in football? It goes directly to the lines of scrimmage. And when you look at the defensive line, Auburn's been able to go out and get some really good defensive linemen, and they've held their own there. But offensive linemen, I mean, when we were on here last Monday with Jason talking about the most notable lineman being drafted in the NFL was Braden Smith. I mean, my God, how long was that? And again, when you have that big a gap between years, when you're having a big time offensive lineman go in the draft, when you got Georgia and Alabama and Tennessee and some of these other teams in the conference that are rolling them out year after year, it's a miracle that you've done what you've done. And so that's kind of where I am. And I know you and I really wanted to watch the offensive line group in spring. And look, we may both have egg on our face when the season starts. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to be better up front.
Absolutely. I think you nailed that. From what we've seen this spring, it has been, like you said, we haven't seen some of the best. We haven't seen some of our starters because they've been hurt. But again, seeing how the depth and how well they still have looked is a huge thing.
Huge. I mean, again, you can't really get anything going consistently if your offensive line's not able to control the line of scrimmage. And the run game, it affects all of it. It affects how you call plays, in certain situations. And like Jason said, it's been a while since we were able to get inside the 5-yard line, short yardage situation, 2 yards or less, and say, all right, and everybody in the stadium and the other team knows, all right, this is what we're about to do. We're just going to go get it. We haven't been able to do that. I was impressed with our running game in the spring, with the platooning of the running backs. I thought all of them looked good at times. We know it's going to be running back by committee, but it's the reason they were running through holes and the reason they were getting upfield is because offensive line were moving people around. And so you might go, well, is that bad for defense to be getting pushed around? They didn't say they were doing it every time, but in certain situations, they were able to open up holes for the running game. And like Faith said, our quarterbacks had time to throw. When they were going live and going full speed, they had plenty of time. Now, sometimes they held on to the ball too long, and that was a coverage sack. Guess what? Guess what's really good for this Auburn team? The secondary. So if our secondary is locking down this wide receiver group, that should be another positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kyle, I was just thinking the exact same thing because Kyle said, poor Tank Bigsby. He ran for his life just to get to the line of scrimmage for years. We always go back and compare a lot of people to Tank just because he was such an athlete at Auburn. And he was such an impactful player. I was going to say, I think that just shows how much talent he had at Auburn, and what he was able to do. And he's been able to show that too in the NFL. But yeah, that he was able to just keep going, and he was good.
And I hate to say this because I don't think he wasn't a waste, but man, if you would have put him behind a really talented group up front, what he could have done.
Blessed he didn't leave. I can say that.
Well, yeah, I mean that there again is another star in the crown or feather in the cap of Auburn's program, where you got guys where Tank could have gone somewhere his last year. As Lucy making an appearance this morning.
Yeah, of course.
We're a little behind this morning, so her internal clock's like, hey, y'all are supposed to be done or getting close to being done already. But Tank, there's our helicopter. I knew it was coming. But Tank stayed the course and stayed in this program, even though he knew he probably could have jumped ship and gone to somewhere, maybe like Georgia, where he was from, or wherever, and played and been a guy. And instead, he stayed at Auburn and played his way out, and he's in the NFL now. He's doing good. But that does say a lot for the program at Auburn, that players generally are committed. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of guys get in the portal here. I mean, we saw Terrence Love, who just signed with Colorado, by the way, and it's a good fit for him. Again, we want J.C. Hart and Terrence Love and Braden Joyner, who signed with Purdue. We want them to go on and have good careers. But they're not leaving because they hated Auburn. They're leaving because they want a shot to be the guy too, and they probably weren't going to be the guy with the roster the way it sits now.
Right.
So,
and that's okay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, it's a business decision. It's not like they got ran off. Hey, they had an opportunity to stay.
Right.
But they made the decision to go on, and nobody's got hard feelings. So, again, people get in the portal for different reasons. I know there's times people get in the portal because they don't like their current setup. They don't like their current situation. They want to get away from it. People get in the portal because coaches leave, right? Jay Hardy.
Or coaches come.
And then, like Brian Harsin, then they leave. So they had a good situation until somebody showed up and ruined the party, Like, I can't hang out with this guy anymore. So I got to get gone. So yeah, very good analysis there. Doesn't necessarily have to be because somebody leaves. Somebody can walk in the room and you go, no, don't like that guy. So a lot of Cal fans, by the way, on Twitter are having a meltdown.
That's a fun rabbit hole to go down if y'all have enough time.
Yeah, just go to Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, and go just type that in, and like Faith said, a rabbit hole. You can go down for hours. The comments, the meltdowns, just losing the whole team. The whole team's leaving. So I thought we had a pretty good thing going over here, and then they look up and everybody's gone. So
yeah, until people said that the dining hall caught on fire because of him. And they were like, "Oh no, get him out!"
You just get gone, man. You have brought a extremely bad vibe. So nope, and we don't want him back here either. So all right. Speaking of offensive linemen, and we'll get to that here in just a second, but we want to go back and talk about some more of our outstanding partners here on the program. Sure Shot Faith in Alexander City.
Yeah, Sure Shot definitely can hook you up with all the firearms, apparel, and hunting needs that you might have. They sell and trade new and used firearms. So they've also got a course that you ladies can take if you're needing to find out how to properly use a handgun, and they will help you with the right handgun that you're going to need, and also when to use it, how to use it. They can help you out the whole way through. They're up to 80, so not too far from Auburn at all. And their phone number is 256-329-0080. And they'd be more than happy to go and help y'all.
It's an awesome place. I get all my stuff from Sure Shot. When it comes to outdoors, and like Faith said, you ladies need to protect yourself, learn how to shoot a firearm, correctly, and be educated. So they'll help you out with that as well. Oliver Ross.
If you're having a party from 20 people all the way up to 20,000 people, Brett, I figure you could have used Oliver Ross at your house this weekend.
I could have.
They're completely licensed and certified bartenders, so they know exactly how to make sure they don't spill on themselves, when that's probably what you're going to be doing when you are in charge of all of that. So make sure that you call on them, whether it's just a party at your house or fraternity, sorority, anything like that. They are going to take care of you and make sure that you're completely covered.
And there's the smaller graphic there with the number if you've got a microscope. So I'm going to try to blow that up. 256-496-2212. Our good friend Mark Gill and his staff, like Faith said, they do a tremendous job. Really appreciate them. Call on them, seriously, for any of your events. They'll take care of you. And Faith is so right. I would just make a big mess. And you just look stupid. I mean, you embarrass yourself. So don't do that. Let them handle it for you. All right. So speaking of offensive linemen, Faith, Auburn picks up another offensive lineman in the portal. You lose Braden Joyner, so you get another guy back. Malachi Harris, if that name is familiar, it is Hezekiah Harris's brother. Hezekiah Harris, a commitment in the 26 class for Auburn from Mae Jemison, the big edge rusher, 6'5", 220 pounds. The number 8 player in the state. So Malachi Harris went to Austin Peay, and he played sparingly, didn't he?
Yeah, he was. But again, another depth piece, another person that we can, at least have numbers.
Yeah, I mean, again, a younger guy that, pretty much lost his red shirt because he played in too many games. 60 snaps over the course of the season, and a lot of those came through special teams and very sparingly on offense. So I don't know, maybe he was disgruntled a little bit. We were talking about wasting a red shirt or situations why people get in the portal. I don't know that for a fact, but it could be. I mean, just looking at this and knowing that he only played very, very few snaps on the offensive line, his position, maybe he was a little bit, I don't know, perturbed, or maybe he knows his brother's coming to Auburn and he gets in the portal, and maybe so there could be all kind of different reasons, but Auburn's able to go out and pick up Malachi Harris from Austin Peay. Again, what are you getting out of the portal? You're getting guys that either didn't play a lot, they're younger, or you got guys that are older, maybe have 1 year of eligibility left, that weren't a all-conference performer, but they were a solid player, maybe borderline, and want to go try their talent somewhere else their last year to get a start. Or maybe, it's a connection with a coach whatever it could be. There's all types of different reasons why people get in the portal and people go different places. So it's not necessarily going, oh, you picked up this guy and he only played, in 8 games and hardly has any stats. Well, I mean, if he's got 3 years left, I mean, can you develop him? Can he get better? Yeah. I mean, again, it's not like you're going out there trying to fill your roster with all Americans and all SEC or all conference performers, because all of these positions are need positions for everybody. And they're not going to let their best player leave and get in the portal. And if he does, he's going to demand a lot of money. And so that's really not what Auburn's trying to do right now in this second portal window.
Right. I was going to say it's the second portal window. That's in the first window. That's not what we're looking for right now. And that's not really what you're going to get in this second portal window. And we don't have that kind of money, I don't think, to spend in this
Gotta be
one.
frugal.
Yeah, with the positions that we need that extra depth in. So there's a few extra people that we need to get.
The first portal window, I mean, you go out and get Darrell Robinson, big time running back from Connecticut. You go get Xavier Chaplin from Virginia Tech, maybe the best offensive lineman in the portal. You go get Mason Murphy from USC, who's a really good offensive lineman. I mean, yeah, it looks different, and that doesn't mean that you can't get a big time guy in the second portal window, but you're really trying to fulfill depth needs at that point. All right, man, what's this basketball roster look like, Faith? It's completely different. I mean, when you look at, from top to bottom, this is a different looking team with all the exits and how this thing's going to break down. Going in and picking up another piece, and I think we talked about it a little bit this weekend, but Elijah Freeman from LMU was a massive pickup for this Auburn basketball team. And I'm going to let you run down the potential of what this roster will look like here in just a second. But, I've been reading on Twitter and different places where some fans are concerned with who Auburn is replacing the guys leaving with. And I just want to remind everybody that, and what they're concerned is they're like, well, we're going out and getting JUCO guys and we're getting Division II or Division III guys, whatever. But hello.
What do you think was on our roster the last 2-3 years?
Hello. Exactly. I mean, where did Janai Broom come from? He came from
Kenny Johnson come from.
That's what I mean.
What about CBN?
I mean, so I think what you have to understand is, are your coaches good evaluators of talent and potential? That's really what it boils down to. And I would go ahead and give Bruce Pearl and his staff a pretty good grade on being able to evaluate talent and potential. Can you go out and spend a boatload of money on high-profile guys and bring them in? You can. Did that work out for Rutgers this year? They had 2 of the highest profile guys in the portal that they went out and got and added, and they didn't make the tournament. So money doesn't always necessarily mean that it's going to make your roster elite. Now, yeah, you want to go get the top players, but it's all about a chemistry and how you bring guys in. And so to me, that's where Auburn really, really shines, Faith. They're able to evaluate who's out there and who can come in and be a good fit for this program.
Yeah, and we've heard from a lot of people that, Coach Pearl likes to take people different guys that he think is going to be coachable and able to morph them into the offense or defense that him and his staff run. And we saw that with Janai Broom specifically. And I think that's a huge the coaches deserve accolades for that because of what talent they were able to put into these kids.
Right. I agree. Let's look at the guard position right now for Auburn. We'll just kind of go through this together. If Tahad were to come back, which we are all hoping for, who do you have out there at backup for him at point. It's going to be Magwood.
Right.
You're going to get Caden Magwood that comes in as a freshman. So would you go out and maybe try to find another point guard? Possibly. Could some of these other guys possibly play point? Could Kevin Overton possibly do that? I don't think they want him to, but that's something to watch. And I think we won't know anything until Kyle said, please, oh Lord.
I think we're all saying that, every single Auburn fan.
Well, let's just be honest about things right here. If he doesn't come back, then that's a very big concern for this whole team, because
I think it'll throw everything out of whack. I think a lot of people are really banking on him coming back.
I agree. And, I just think that, when you look at it from a standpoint of that, I know, again, you're telling yourself that you got a veteran coming back who will only be a sophomore, but I actually heard Kirby Smart say that the other day, by the way, so I don't feel so dumb anymore by saying veteran guys, second-year guys, because I know you and I have been talking about our veteran guys in the wide receiver room being the guys that are going to be sophomores. But Kirby Smart says, I consider old guys year 2 guys now because of the portal and freshman class coming in. That's who I look to as my veterans. Year 2, year 3
If
guys.
they've gotten enough playing time, I will say yes.
Right.
If they don't, then
they're still a newbie too. But if you situation where you got Malcolm Simmons and Cam Coleman and guys like that who played a majority of the year, I don't care, what they're listed as. They're, as a sophomore coming back, they're your veteran guys.
Yep.
Even though Singleton comes in and Fields comes in out of the portal, they haven't been at Auburn. So, you're looking at guys that, also bring that leadership and that knowledge of your program to kind of help. All right. So again, I think the whole thing hinges on Todd Pettiford. All right. So then you add Abdul Bashir out of JUCO. And then again, like I just said, Kevin Overton, and then Keyshawn Hall. Keyshawn Hall can play. Keyshawn Hall is the very talented guy from Central Florida who, again, his teammate, the center, is still out there because I think Auburn still needs another 5 because I don't think Emeka Oporum is going to be the guy that you're looking at to be the starter. Okay, I think he's still a raw talent, 7-footer, but thin. I think he brings, he brings some experience, but I think you still do need another 5 there. And I know a lot of people are thinking about, what about Keyshawn Murphy from Mississippi State at 6'10"? I think he's a true forward. He's a stretch 4 guy. So I think Auburn needs to go out and look maybe for another 5. And it could be the kid from Central Florida to kind of join Keyshawn Hall coming up here. We'll just have to kind of watch that and see how that plays out. But, we've got a lot of guys that look similar, don't we, Faith? We got a lot of 6'7", 6'8" guys. You got Sebastian Williams-Adams, who's 6'8". You got Keyshawn Murphy, Hall, that's 6'7". You got Abdul Bashir, that's 6'7". These were the guys that were the CBM. And so I know we'll still be watching where CBM lands, but you got a lot of really talented players in that range that can do a lot of versatile things. I think that's where this roster is going to look different, is you're going to have some guys that can morph, and instead of being predicated to one position, they can move around and play multiple positions.
Right. Absolutely.
So the depth's going to look a little different.
It is, but
right. But then you add Elijah Freeman, like we just talked about, big time prolific scorer, almost 20 points a game, was a top guy in the portal. A lot of people wanted him. Big pickup for Auburn there. So when you look at it, if Tahad were to come back, and of course we didn't even mention Simon Walker at guard coming in from Huntsville High School, who I think is a underrated player that doesn't get a lot of talking about. that I think will prove that over time. But with Overton coming in and Freeman coming in and the additions all of last week in basketball, man, this portal has been burning up football and basketball wise. Faith, it is. These coaching staffs are not sitting on their hands. They're going out there trying to get the guys that they need to go ahead and get these rosters solidified.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl has had only positive things to say so far about, which you would think, about all the guys that he has coming in. But I mean, like you said, on both sides of the court, he's been saying a lot of good things about each guy he's bringing in.
Yeah, I agree. Rebel Yell says, what is BP thinking not getting a true point guard? Tahad is terrible running point guard, so we get that next year. And what happens when he goes to the bench, Magwood? Well, let me just say this, Rebel Yell. He was the sixth man. And you know, he needed to grow and get better. I think you're going to see a different player this year. I think he's a guy that was one of the highest rated point guards in the country coming out of high school. You know, and Caden Magwood's pretty highly ranked. So you're going to bring another young guy in. I just said, if something were to happen and he didn't come back, I mean, you got to go find another point guard probably. But I love Tahad personally. Did he make some mistakes this year at times? Yeah, he did. Young guy.
He was also a freshman.
Young
guy. You gotta expect him to make mistakes. And playing at this high level, and when he was really getting a lot of his minutes in the SEC play, you've got to really think about the fact that when he is in that position and he does make a mistake, you're playing against some of the best teams in the country.
And I know that
of course he's going to make mistakes.
In the Alabama game, he turned that ball over. He was worn out. I mean, again, you got to remember everybody wasn't playing that day. And so he had an increased role. And look, I'll ride with Tahad Pettiford. I think he'll be one of the best players in the country next year. I really do. So I'm not saying that I'm dismissing what you're saying, Rebel Yell, that, you know, you are kind of sitting on the fence. If he were to leave, it would be a major deficit. But I think if he comes back, I think we're fine at point guard. I really do. And then Caden Magwood coming off the bench, that's what Tahad Pettiford did this year. And I think it'd work out. Again, I'm going to trust his judgment there. Kyle, we appreciate it. Thank you for telling everybody to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. We try to be honest about it. We try to bring new perspectives. We don't try to just sit here and say the same old stuff everybody else says. And I'll just be honest, I don't watch really anybody else's stuff. We try to do our own research and try to get our own information. Everybody's privy to the same stuff. I know you can access stuff wherever, but we try to give you a little bit different perspective on some things and not just the cookie cutter stuff. So we appreciate you, Kyle, for the kind words. Again, go out there and subscribe. Again, I'm not going to belabor. We'll shift over and talk a little bit about baseball this weekend. Faith, it was a tough weekend when you go out to Austin, Texas, and you knew what you were going to get. But I thought once again, Auburn had its chances, and especially on the Thursday game, had a really good opportunity to get a win, and they let it slip away. And so when you have a chance, better try to grab it. If not, it's probably going to be a tough road to hoe, and it was the rest of the weekend. Auburn loses 8-3 in game 2, and then lost 14-2 in 7 innings. The number 6 team in the country. Auburn was hot going into that series, had won 6 games in a row. They've got Georgia Tech coming in now. They had just played Georgia Tech in a crazy game a couple of weeks ago, midweek. Now they've got Georgia Tech coming in tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. That should be a really good midweek game. And then they have Mississippi State coming in this weekend, Faith. So, can get things right back on track. going in the right direction with a midweek game against Georgia Tech and then Mississippi State coming in.
Yeah. Again, Ike Irish had 4 home runs this weekend.
Yep.
So he had a good weekend, but yeah, definitely a tough weekend out there, but something you can't hold on to. Have to just turn it around and
good or bad, you gotta move forward. What does Auburn's SEC schedule look like? I won't run down the midweek games. Then they go to Tennessee, first week of May. South Carolina comes to Auburn after that. Then you have Ole Miss in Oxford, which will be tough. And then you got the SEC tournament. So really just a handful of series left. And you got Tennessee and Ole Miss looming. You do have South Carolina. And then, of course, Mississippi State this coming up weekend. So what is that, 4 series left?
Mm-hmm.
And a few midweek games. I know they still got Samford coming up. But, for the most part, looking at the standings right now in the conference, Auburn's 9-9. Missouri is 0-18. Didn't draw them this year. This would have been the year to – of course, they were terrible last year, but have not won a conference game, which is – I know in baseball that's hard to do. I'll be honest. I mean, you're going to steal one here or there. But to be 0-18, that's rough. Even Auburn last year with a rough start ended up catching a little bit of their legs and ended up finishing the season good. Maybe – with 4 series left, they'll figure it out. South Carolina's 4-14. Mississippi State, again, breath of fresh air, 6-12 at the bottom of the conference. So Auburn, they don't need to let this one slip away. They need to take care of business at home, and at worst, take 2 out of 3. Florida 6-12. Texas A&M, who was preseason number 1, 8-10, along with Kentucky 8-10. Auburn and Alabama are both 9-9 at 500, which is sitting just fine where we are right now with 4 series left. Oklahoma and Ole Miss are just 1 game better at 10-8, along with Georgia. And then you got Vanderbilt 11-7, Tennessee, LSU 12-6, who Auburn swept LSU, by the way.
Yeah.
So 3 of their 6 losses came against us. And then Arkansas 13-5, and then there's Texas sitting there with a 16-2 mark, 33-5 overall. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So. And then again,
we've got to take care of Mississippi State at home because, again, we've got to go on the road for some of those really tough games.
Well, you got Tennessee and Ole Miss that you got to go to or above Auburn. And then you got Mississippi State and South Carolina who are at the bottom, and they'll both be at home. So you better win those 2 series. And if you can sweep them, that would be great. If you could sweep, that would be great. So
huge.
All right, some of our other partners here before we close out the show. Again, we can't thank all of our partners enough, but Old Number One Customs, Faith, for all the guys out there that have been putting off the home renovation projects and the things that they need to do. Old Number One Customs can help you with that. They'll come to your rescue, and they will get the project done for you, renovation of your kitchen or bathroom. And what do you like to say, Faith?
Why would you wait 2 years to DIY when you can call Old Number One Customs and do it in 2 weeks with them?
Again, this goes back to like Oliver Ross. Why do you try to do it yourself when you just have it done the right way the first time? And they got the 0 money down on 3.99% APR. They'll hook you up and then you can do it at a low rate and it'll be done right and it'll be in and out of your house in 2 weeks. So don't try to, you end up spending more money when you screw it up and have to tear it all out and come back and repair the stuff that you didn't do right. So call on Old Number One Customs. We can't say enough great things about them. And then JFA Blue Plumbing.
Disgusting water that is damaging your showers, sinks, everything like that. Why are you going to ingest that into your body or your kids and your family and dogs? Make sure you call on JFA Blue Plumbing because they're going to be able to take care of you and your family with the new water filter system that they have. And the easiest number to remember, 844-JFA Blue. to help take care of you.
Absolutely. You've got it down pat. And the Atlas whole home water filter system for $15.99. There is no price to put on your health and in clean water. And so just that one time purchase, and they'll come in and you'll be drinking clean water. And again, the number, like Faith said, is about as easy as any number out there. So call on them, get them to come install that in your house, and make sure you're drinking clean water. We can't say enough about all of our great sponsors. Faith, Sense Green, been with us really since day one here on the podcast, and we appreciate them. Scout Program Management has as well, along with the great guys at Bunkers. Just can't say enough about all of these great partners that we have, and our own location partners now that we're going to be adding. We're excited. I think we can go ahead and announce this now. Obviously, JR's, we were there this past Friday. We will be down at Stillwater's, or the Stillwater's area, this coming Friday. Going to be bouncing around to multiple business down there. So much going on in that area. So we've got an agreement that we'll be at different places down there. So you'll just have to stay tuned for that. But we will be down there this coming up Friday. So we'll let you know exactly what's going on throughout the week there. We also have added in Lake Martin Pizza Company, which is unbelievable pizza. They got 2 locations on Highway 63 in Alexander City, and then Highway 49 down around Dayville on past the Stillwaters area. Very accessible for people in Auburn. Take you like 20, 25 minutes to get there. And they're doing some renovations down there, so excited about that. And then Baumhauer's and Byron's, Faith, will be there as well.
Baumhauer's and Byron's in Auburn. Baumhauer's is right once you get off of 85 off of Bent Creek. It's right in there in that little shopping side over by the Sam's Club in there.
Academy
and Byron's, which is a staple in Auburn. Everybody knows Byron's, their breakfast and everything. So we'll be there depending on the days. But yeah, those are definitely going to be the days y'all have got to come and eat some food with us.
No doubt about it, man. One thing about it is we're going to have to be hitting the gym. It's summertime, and everybody's trying to get in shape. The weather's looking good. It's lake season, but we're going to some really good places to eat all the time. And then our On the Road show, we go to all these communities, and they just throw out the dog, man. They just spread the table full of sample everything. So we're going to eat in moderation, and then lots of to-go boxes in the future to feed friends and family for sure. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Auburn Blitz podcast. Again, hit the like and the subscribe button, spread the word. We're over 4,000 subscribers now, so all of that goes to you guys out there. We really appreciate that, man. We are rocketing toward 5,000, and think we'll be there. I mean, the way things are going, within a month or so. So it's all because of all of you out there, all the kind words and everything. Get your week started off on the right foot. Be kind.
Have the best day ever.
There you go. I knew it was coming. Have the best day ever, always, and a big old
War Eagle.